There's one man who refuses to follow the script.
We have rules here, you know that. And if you don't follow the rules, then what are we?
One man stands tall in the face of adversity.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
A man who rises above the ashes of hot takes.
What do you care what they say?
Easy for you to say they will love you.
It's just noise, man. You're really good at it. You might be great.
That man is Nick Kostos, and this is You Better You Bet.
If loving sports is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Where narratives are challenged and the truth is spoken.
I told you what was going to happen last week. If you didn't listen, that's on you.
This isn't talk, it's perspective.
It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry, tremendous Sports Thursday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports, as we bring you the fastest show in all of sports. The show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this Thursday morning, the world of sports, as Alicia Keys would say, on fire. I didn't do a good job there. This sport is on fire. Good song. Not the best Alicia Keys song, but it is a good song. And we will get to, on this Thursday morning, all the big stories in the world of sports, including why we, collectively, you and I, everybody, we need to, even if he annoys us, even if you don't like him, we need to appreciate Aaron Rodgers while he is still playing. I will tell everybody how I'm betting the Western Conference Final in the NHL now that Vegas is up 1-0 in the series against Colorado. Carter Hart was great last night. I told you, if Vegas is going to win this series, it's going to be because Carter Hart's an absolute stud. He was last night for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're up 1-0 on Colorado. I'll tell you how I'm betting the rest of the series. And I am going to settle one of the dumbest sports debates in the history of sports debates. And there are many. But there is one that has been under my skin for a long, long time. And I've been scratching that patch of skin like it's eczema. And I'm ready. I'm ready today to settle the debate. I'll tell you what it is a little later in the program. Our bets for tonight will close the show, as per usual, in the final hour, in the power hour. The phone number, 310-840-4910. YouTube.com/@thekostos, TheKostos, if you want to watch the show and see I'm a little ugly today, if I'm being honest, and need a haircut. See my ugly face. And you can follow me on all social platforms at the Kostos, TheKostos. But we officially begin. Tremendous Sports Thursday edition of You Better You Bet, with the Empire striking back last night in Oklahoma City. The Thunder taking Game 2 over the San Antonio Spurs, 122-113. The series now shifts back to San Antonio. And I want to start with this. This series with Oklahoma, and forget, not just the series, this conference finals so far. Game 1 and Game 2 in the West. Game 1 in the East with the Knicks and the Cavs. Did I mention I was there the other night? Did I mention it was great? It was. It was really awesome. The basketball has been electric. It has been absolutely magnificent, absolutely sensational. The entertainment on a night in, night out basis, like my wife hates me because I'm in ecstasy just watching hoops every single night. It has been tremendous. These games have been tremendous. Last night, no exception. a ridiculously well-played basketball game. And there are a lot of storylines to get to, and we will get to all of them. But just, like, if you love basketball, just like the sport, like you enjoy watching people play basketball, you enjoy playing basketball yourself, I don't know how you're not having an absolute blast watching these games. The level of intensity and physicality, the shot making in this series with Oklahoma City and San Antonio is through the roof. And look, if we can call a spade, and I'm a Knicks fan about to say this. Now, Knicks Cavs the other night was insanely dramatic. It was unquestionably a tremendous sporting event. Like a grade A, S-tier sporting event. Knicks Cavs game 1 a couple nights ago at Madison Square Garden. Like, there's no way, and look, I'm a Knicks fan. I was there. I loved it. There's no way that you can say Knicks. It's like they're almost like they're not even playing the same sport. Like, Knicks Cavs was awesome because of the Knicks comeback at the end. But, if we're going to be honest, it was basically Knicks are going to play bad for an extended stretch of time. Then the Cavs play worse for an extended stretch of time. The Cavaliers head coach loses all brain activity and decides to take all his timeouts with him into game 2, even though that's not how it works. And the Knicks end up winning the game in overtime. Was it a great game? Yes. Was it dramatic? Yes. Was it fun? You bet your ass it was. But I mean, are we at the level of basketball, Knicks Cavs game 1, as we've been with the Thunder and the Spurs these last couple games? It's preposterous. Like, it's actually ridiculous. The shot making, the strategy, the physicality. It is nothing short of awesome. Bodies flying everywhere. Players dropping like flies. We'll get into the injury situation in a little bit here, which obviously matters quite a bit as the series will go to San Antonio. I also just want to take a second. And, I'm a Knicks fan, right? And I grew up despising Reggie Miller. I famously, or infamously, I don't know. I was at the Reggie Miller game, when he scored 58 points in the final 3 seconds of 1995 in game 1. I was there at the Garden with my mom, and actually my mom brought this up yesterday because she knew I was at the game the other night. And she was like, "Hey, remember when we were at that game against Indiana?" I'm like, "Do I remember?" It's seared into my cortex. It's like in my nightmares. My mom made us leave before the game was over because we thought the Knicks were going to win to get on the Long Island Railroad to go home. I heard everybody booing and just ran back through the tunnel, and Reggie Miller was at the free throw line about to put the Pacers up. Yeah, I remember. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, Ma, I remember. I remember when the Knicks lost to the Pacers. I remember. Trust me, I remember. I know Knicks fans hate Reggie Miller. It's whatever. Yeah, friendly rivalry at this point. This needs to be said. I think this is the best he's ever been calling games. He is tremendous on NBC. Tremendous. And my favorite Reggie Miller development, and I referenced this after game 1, is Victor Wembanyama will just do something, that no one else in the history of the sport can do. And Reggie, and I mean this as a compliment, instead of trying to give us well, let me tell you about Victor Wembanyama using the physics of his left arm and bending his elbow in such a certain way and using his height in a way like this is sports science. Reggie just does what we do when we're watching. He makes noises. And he laughs. Because, not that it's Eddie Murphy doing stand-up comedy. It's not funny like that. But you watch Wemby do some of these things, like when he misses a layup and then curls his arm around the basket like he's Mr. Fantastic and tips it back in or dunks it. What are you going to... There's no analysis needed. All you have to do is make noise. All you have to do is laugh, and everybody gets the point. So I did want to give Reggie his flowers because I do feel like I think he has added to the enjoyment of what has been a massively enjoyable series with Oklahoma City and San Antonio. Let's talk about the game and what happened. An exceptionally consequential game, as all games are at this point on the calendar. And I believe that any story coming out of last night, the story that needs to be told before any other coming out of Game 2 of the Western Conference Final, is the story of Victor Wembanyama. So Victor Wembanyama has reached this point, right? And just consider this for a second. Think about, before I even say what I'm about to say, think about how you feel about Victor Wembanyama's performance last night. My sense is, I'm not in your head to know, but my sense is that you were maybe at least a touch, at least a tad, if this were using a culinary example, a dollop, maybe a tad underwhelmed by what Victor Wembanyama did last night after what he did in game numero uno. Wemby last night. Now, again, the emotion. Perhaps a little underwhelmed. Perhaps you feel like Wemby could have done more for San Antonio. Maybe you feel like, I expected way better from Victor Wembanyama. He had 21 points, 17 rebounds, and 4 blocks. He was ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. And I sequence it like that, and I phrase it like that to get to the next point. Victor Wembanyama has entered a zone. Don't let me get in my zone. Shout out to Jay-Z. Victor Wembanyama has entered a zone where we don't just expect greatness. We are expecting to see things we've never seen on a nightly basis. And I don't mean that as a criticism of us. We're human beings. Of course that's what we're going to expect. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm watching the game thinking, hey, where's the half-court three-pointer? Where's the Monstars, the dunk from the free throw line? Like he's Brent Barry in the dunk contest in the mid-90s. I'm expecting it too. So I'm not criticizing anybody. I totally get it. Victor Wembanyama has entered this rarefied air of player where the expectation is right, wrong, or indifferent, and honestly, I think we're on the right side of it, where we are expecting him maybe not to throw up 41 and 24 like he did in game 1. Maybe that's not what it's going to be, but we're expecting fireworks every single time this dude gets on the court, right? So, if we are expecting that, and I believe that we collectively are, don't you think the Thunder are expecting it? Or the Blazers are expecting it? Or the Timberwolves are expecting it? Or the Cavs or the Knicks will expect it in the NBA Finals if and when San Antonio gets there? Last night in game number 2, Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault, I believe, and this is, maybe we should have criticized him more coming out of game 1. He's earned so much equity after winning the title last year. He's such a good coach. But in retrospect, the decision to have, listen, we killed Kenny Atkinson yesterday on the show, right? For not a really obvious thing. Hey, Kenny, call your timeouts, right? Don't let Jalen Brunson flambe James Harden. In retrospect, it is a little silly's putting it lightly, that Mark Daigneault decided to put 6'5" Alex Caruso on 7'4" Victor Wembanyama for a lot of game 1. Right? It's a little silly in retrospect. And the adjustment was literally we have this huge 7-footer with tons of muscle in Isaiah Hartenstein. Let's let Isaiah Hartenstein beat the piss out of Victor Wembanyama instead of Wemby being a foot taller than the guy that's guarding him. It's a great adjustment. It makes a ton of sense. You don't have to be X's and O's basketball expert to know the guy with muscle that's 7 feet maybe has a better chance of defending the guy, the alien that's 7'4", as opposed to the guy that's 6'5". It's simple physics, physiology, and mathematics. You don't have to have a math degree to know that, right? So here's Isaiah Hartenstein on Victor Wembanyama. Now, it's one thing just to say it. Okay, we're going to put the guy that's 7 foot on the alien. Okay, good. Like Wemby's 5, and Hartenstein's a good player. And he's an old Nick, and I love him. I think he's great. Victor Wembanyama is 50 times better than Hartenstein. Not an insult to Hartenstein. He was really good. But he's not Wemby, obviously. And if it's just going to be Hartenstein on Wemby's going to torch him. Torch him. Like that's going to be like the tall people equivalent of Brunson on Harden. If it's just straight up ethical basketball, Isaiah Hartenstein trying to guard Victor Wembanyama. So then what do the Thunder do? We're going to get in the mud. Yeah? Oh yeah, Victor? Like you think you're going to roll out of bed and drop 40 on that ass? No way. Absolutely not. So Isaiah Hartenstein is fouling the you-know-what out of Victor Wembanyama. And I see on social media, everybody's furious about this. Do you see what's happening? And NBC, and I don't blame them for it. I'm going to defend SGA in a little bit here, which is I don't really want to do, but I think I will. NBC is showing it throughout the game last night. I don't blame them. I would do the same thing if I were them. It's a huge storyline. It's a massive, massive, massive storyline. What do you expect the Thunder to do? If you were the Oklahoma City Thunder, if you were Mark Daigneault, if you're the coaching staff, if you're Sam Presti, if you're these players, what do you do if you're them? Do you let this freak, and I mean that in a good way, not like freak someone like the bearded lady at the circus, do you let this freak show end your season, end your potential dynasty, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I'm playing it out, right? Do you let that happen, or do you try to exhaust every opportunity and push every button and pull every lever before you lose? Like if you're Oklahoma City and you're gonna lose to this dude, you make him earn it. You make him earn it. You don't put Alex Caruso on him. And like Caruso's awesome. You can make the case he's been the best Thunder player in the first 2 games of the series. Also, he's a foot shorter than Victor Wembanyama. He can't guard him. It's not an insult to Caruso. He's not as tall as he is. Take this as somebody short. Like, height matters. It just does. It does. Especially in an instance like this. So, of course, the Thunder are going to rough up Victor Wembanyama. Now, go back to what I was saying about the expectations for Wemby. Wemby's now in this rarefied air where we are expecting him to be, I'll evoke the name, like Jordan. Where we watch these games now, and it's like, what's this guy going to do? He's in like the Shaquille O'Neal zone. He's in the Kobe Bryant zone. He's in the LeBron James zone. Maybe not 2026 LeBron James, but he in the LBJ zone, right? Those guys all got the crap kicked out of them in the postseason. All of them. Jordan rules. Remember those? Tirico talked about them on the broadcast. He was right to bring it up. And Reggie's like, oh. Nah, man. Mike Tirico's right to say that. Shaquille O'Neal got fouled constantly because if you don't foul Shaq, he's going to dunk on your ass because he's bigger than you. Like, this is how it goes. Welcome to playoff basketball. Like, I love how some of you, and like, I love you, and I mean that, but you watch these games and you're like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this. They're so dirty. He's hooking Wemby. Why is he doing that? It's not right. Guess what, everybody? I hate to be the one to, and like, you know, I was going to use the word that rhymes with my first name that starts with D. It's a little harsh. I think I'm a really nice guy. I think people would say that, people that know me, that I mean well and I'm a nice guy. I don't like to be the messenger of things like this. Like, it doesn't give me satisfaction to say this. Like, life isn't fair. Like, it just isn't. And the thought of, well, they have to play by the rules. Oh, you can't do this. It's not fair. It's not right. Grow up. Sorry. I'm not trying to be an a-hole when I say that. Grow up. Grow up. Because if you're the Thunder and you try and play this a different way, like, I don't know if you're definitely going to lose, but you probably are going to lose. So, of course, this is how they're going to play it. Of course Isaiah Hartenstein's gonna bang on Wemby down low, and he's gonna hook Wemby, and he's gonna pull. Of course, because what happens if he doesn't? They're gonna lose. And the officials have to give some latitude. They have to. Because Wemby's like Shaq. Like, that's where we're at. I know he's 22. I get it. He's in the Shaq zone. I'm not saying he'll be as good as Shaq when it's all said and done. I'm certainly not saying he could be the best player of all time. It's in the range of outcomes. He's like in the MJ zone at this point. No? Am I saying something that's incorrect? And what a shame it is that coming out of this wonderful basketball game last night, which is like a carefully choreographed and stylistic and beautiful car crash of a game, people are just talking about the officiating. What a shame. Like, what a shame. What a shame. Also, and I understand, I know SGA flops. I get it. I know. But this idea that everyone don't you understand? Like, Stephon Castle is basically trying to put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the Fujiwara armbar on every possession. Shai is constantly getting fouled. And I don't say this to be like, oh, I can't believe they're not calling more. No! Shai's like the second or third best player in the world. He's the reigning finals MVP. He's the reigning defending 2-time regular season MVP. He's unbelievable. Like, if you don't foul him, if you don't double it, what do you think's going to happen? He's going to score 40. He's awesome. Of course that's what you do. Ethical basketball. Miss me with this crap. Sorry. Like, the point is to win. Life's not fair. And in life, sometimes, like, if someone's cutting a corner and you can cut the corner, you can say, well, I'm just going to do it right. What happens if you lose? I think about stuff like this. I'm raising a child. My daughter's 2. When she gets older, what do I say to her? I want her to win. I don't want her to be a terrible person. Like, what are you supposed to do in this spot? If you're the Thunder, you just lose? If you're the Spurs, you just lose? You let Shai Gilgeous-Alexander destroy you? You let that happen? Really? Like, you're the Knicks in 93, and I know they lost. You're just going to let Jordan kill you? You're playing the Shaq Lakers, like, they're good enough to beat you because they got Kobe also. You're gonna let Shaq go for 40 and 20 every game? Really? Come on. Like, stop it. Just, like, be realistic. Be realistic. And this is not just sports. This is life. Like, be realistic about life. And, like, what you would do if you were them. Because, like, it's such a great game, and it's such a great series. And there's so much more we have to get to. It's like a sin, a sports sin, that we wake up on Thursday morning and people want to talk about the officiating and are they too tough on Victor Wembanyama? By the way, I'm going to say, because it's 23 past the hour, right? We need to take a break. So we're going to take a break. And on the other side, we're going to talk about J-Dub, another hamstring injury. This guy gets more hamstring injuries than my daughter gets colds. My daughter's 2. We'll talk about Dylan Harper. We'll talk about how this series is going to progress moving forward. We'll get to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I am also going to, you know what? I'm going to credit myself for a second. I have solved the problem for the Spurs. If you're San Antonio and you don't want this to continue with Victor Wembanyama, I have a way for them to try and solve this that they haven't attempted yet, and it's really frickin' obvious. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and we'll continue breaking down this epic Western Conference final next on a Thursday. Nick Kostos and you on Westwood One Sports.
action begins as the clock hits 10. Gilgeous-Alexander on the attack, pulls back, and hits!
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Mike Tirico with the call last night on NBC. That the bucket that basically put the game away for Oklahoma City. The Spurs had cut it to 118-113. Maybe a comeback in the books. But no. SGA, jumper, and then Caruso would have a steal, and the Thunder would go up by 9, and that, as they say, would be that. This segment on You Better You Bet, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. Before we talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his performance last night, I have the solution to the Spurs, on how to solve this Victor Wembanyama problem. Because it's true, right? And I defended Oklahoma City. Like, of course they're going to do that. I would do the same thing if I were them. You would do the same thing if you were them. So now we can have the conversation. All right, we understand why the Thunder are doing what they're doing. Now, what is San Antonio's recourse for all of it? What do the Spurs do now? If you're Mitch Johnson, R.C. Buford, Greg Popovich, who's obviously still involved with the Spurs, and your best player is getting fouled constantly, getting the crap kicked out of him on every possession, what do? The problem for the Spurs and Wemby specifically, just him individually, is that Wemby has already done something about this. You know, when he elbowed Naz Reid in the throat, like he's Chris Jericho in AEW doing the Judas effect. So Wemby can't do it. Like, Wemby can't be the one that does it. We talked about this on the show. Justin Termini, he'll join us later from NBA Radio. I talked about this with him, whenever that was, after was that last week, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, it all blends together. When Wemby elbowed Naz Reid in the throat. We said it then. I'll say it again now. What is stopping the Spurs from putting Kelly Olynyk or Bismack Biyombo into the game to hack the hell out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? To hack the hell out of Alex Caruso? To put these guys on their asses? What's stopping them from doing it? If you're the Spurs, don't you kind of need someone to protect Wembanyama? Don't you need your enforcer? Your Charles Oakley? Your Ty Domi? Whatever sport you want to talk about? Graham Lloyd charging out of the bullpen to beat the crap out of Armando Benitez after he pegs Tito Martinez between the shoulder blades? You're just going to let this happen? Like, that's what this is going to be? Or do you fight back? Because, look, I have told you, I believe the Thunder are justified in doing what they're doing to Wemby. But then that means that the Spurs are justified in what they do next. And I'm not insinuating that they try and hurt like a player on OKC. You know, there's a video you could say of Chet Holmgren stepping on Wemby's ankle. I'm not condoning that. If I'm the Spurs, I'm putting Bismack Biyombo into the game to give Chet Holmgren, and I'm being a little facetious here, the JBL, Bill Laimbeer, Kevin McHale clothesline from hell. Remember when like Kelly Olynyk broke Kevin Love's arm? Literally put him in an arm bar during a playoff game? Why can't Kelly Olynyk get in the game and rough somebody up? And again, I want to be clear. I am not saying that I want somebody to get hurt. I'm saying this for dramatic effect, for entertainment. But you have to do something about it. That's the next move here. You just like the Bulls did with JoJo English back in the day. That those dirty SOBs, and yes, I'm a Knicks fan saying that. It doesn't have to be a clothesline. I'm saying that for dramatic effect, just to be clear. I don't want anybody to get hurt. But there needs to be, if there's going to be a level of physicality that's in a gray area with Wemby, then the Spurs have to give it back. They have to protect him. You have to. You can't let that happen because you lost last night. You have to do something about it. You better you bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos and you on Westwood One Sports. How about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last night? Give credit to Shai. He's not the best quote. He's not the best press conference. But I feel like he almost always tells the truth. Like one way or another. Like or whatever he believes his truth to be. And I give him a lot of credit for that. Shai, coming out of game one, listen, we all know, he didn't play well. Like Kenny Atkinson, the Cavs lose game one. Kenny Atkinson's like, yeah, I have no issues with anything I did. Really? You don't? Are you dumb? And I'm not saying he's dumb, but are you lying? Like one of two things is true. Dumb or lying. I'm guessing he's lying because there's no way he's dumb gotten to where he is, right? He's either dumb or he's lying. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't, after game one, say, yeah, I don't have to change anything. He knows he didn't play well. He said it. And he said, something that he has to augment in his game is when there's a long layoff, which the Thunder have had lots of because they destroy teams. They've been destroying some teams. We didn't see it throughout the entire postseason last year, but certainly after the first round, leading into game one against the Nuggets in round two. Think about game one against the Lakers. You didn't play great in that game. They won. You didn't play great. After a long layoff, after they destroyed the Suns in round one. He knows he's got to be better with that. And he knew he had to be better last night. And he was. 12 of 24 from the field, 30 points, 9 assists. Now, I'm not going to get shaken off of what I said after game one. The best player in this series is Victor Wembanyama. He is. And that's not an insult to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to say that. Victor Wembanyama, unlike Shai, is 7'4", and you can't teach that. If Shai were 7'4", we'd probably say the same thing. It's nothing to do with skill, it has to do with height. So Wemby's the best player in the series. But with that said, we can't let, and I can't let, that fact cloud how good and make us forget how good SGA is. Because we call Wemby he's an alien, right? Shai Gilgeous, if we're going to use 80s action movies, Wemby's Alien and SGA is the Terminator. Like that scene in the Terminator when they show you what's happening inside Arnold's brain, right? When he's assessing everything that's happening in the bar. SGA is like a cyborg. I think properly assessed what he needed to do last night. And you can see, when Wemby's down low, he's not doing the stuff he does when they're playing a team, not the Spurs. He's very aware of Wemby's presence. I don't think he's looking to really get into it with Wemby or get down low and risk getting rejected. So he's augmented his game a little bit, but with a ton of success. He was great last night. Great passing the ball, great shooting the ball. So a ton of credit to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I thought he was great last night. Caruso was great last night for the Thunder, yet again. And he's been their best player through 2 games. Cason Wallace making big shots. Jared McCain making big shots. What's Daryl Morey doing right now? OKC's depth is ridiculous. And we've talked about that for a long, long time. And if these injuries hold up, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, plays 7 minutes in the game, has to leave. We see the video shot of him walking into the locker room with ice on his left hamstring. It's kind of becoming, it's not funny, but it's kind of becoming what are you supposed to do other than laugh at this point? He can't stay on the court. So he's got a hamstring issue. In a devastating blow for the San Antonio Spurs, Dylan Harper plays only 25 minutes in the game and has to leave, apparently also with a hamstring injury. We don't know the severity. My guess, I don't know. There's been no reporting. Are we going to see Jalen Williams the rest of the series? They're just going to play him in game 3 as another hamstring injury? Seems bad. And the fact that Dylan Harper couldn't continue, maybe this is an OG Anunoby thing. OG missed a couple games. Do you think Dylan Harper's going to play in game 3? Seems unlikely. I'm not saying it's definite, but feels unlikely, right? And then there's De'Aaron Fox, who hasn't played the first 2 games of the series. And for as good as Stephon Castle is, and he's marvelous. He's exceptional. And his dunk over Isaiah Hartenstein last night is one of the great in-game playoff dunks ever. He's great. 9 turnovers. Like, the whole thing with the Spurs, and you could say this about so many teams in NBA history that incur injuries in the playoffs, but it's the 3 guards, right? And Wemby. And obviously you have ancillary pieces in Vassell and Kelton Johnson, the 6th man of the year, Champagnie, etc., right? And I know that. But it's Castle, Harper, Fox, and Wemby. And right now, 2 of those 4 are hurt for San Antonio. I don't know if Fox is going to play in Game 3. Maybe. I think probably. Betting market, for me, when I look at it, with the Thunder as like a very small favorite, like a 1-point favorite, that to me is like a De'Aaron Fox is playing point spread, if we're assuming Harper's not. We have no idea. The Spurs are excellent. They are. They have an embarrassment of riches as far as roster depth goes. But not like Oklahoma City's. Oklahoma City can withstand the loss of Jalen Williams if the Spurs are going to have guys out also. Now, fully healthy San Antonio, which they're not, but fully healthy San Antonio against OKC without J-Dub, I like the Spurs, if that's going to be the case. So maybe that's the parlay that hits. J-Dub's out, Dylan Harper's ready to go, Fox is back, and then San Antonio's cooking with gas. But we have no idea what this is going to look like, right? So what I'm saying now is, until we get word on the severity or lack thereof of these injuries, advantage Thunder. Right? Someone argue against that. Tell me I'm wrong. As of right now, I have not bet the game yet. I like the Thunder in Game 3. I'm going to assume that Harper's out, and I'm going to assume that J-Dub's out. And I think the Thunder are more equipped to survive a situation like that, even on the road, than the Spurs are. Now, do I say that with extreme confidence? No. Do I like to bet? Yes. Yes, I do. So I like the Thunder a little bit right now in Game 3, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get injury reporting during the show today. Obviously, we will bring it to you when and if we get it. Last note here. Do I have time to do this here? Maybe not. I'll try and we'll squeeze it in here. So I've never, and I will not say it, not yet. I've never said that the New York Knicks will win the NBA championship. But I have upgraded, like a player getting upgraded from questionable to probable. I have upgraded the Knicks from 0% to win the NBA Finals to more than 0%. Now, I don't know what that is, but look, if they're they can win, but let's be real. Take fandom out of the equation. Let's just have a basketball conversation. They will be underdogs against either Oklahoma City or San Antonio in the finals. Assuming health. This series is a war with OKC and San Antonio. 94 feet of mayhem. Bodies being thrown around haphazardly. Reckless in a good way. J-Dub's got another hammy. Dylan Harper's got a hammy. Fox is battling an injury. The Knicks are healthy. Right now, things can change. Things could change in a New York minute, literally and figuratively. Tonight in Game 2, things can change. I hope they don't, but they could. Just saying. Is it all starting to come up, Knicks? Is it all starting to come up, Knicks? Take a break. On the other side, I know that you don't like Aaron Rodgers. Or I shouldn't say definitely. Most people don't like Aaron Rodgers. I think that's fair to say. I'm going to tell you why we need to put all the feelings aside and enjoy the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, next.
Do you believe that this could be your last year? Or do you even think of that right now?
Yes.
As in your last year?
This is it. Yeah.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
With BetMGM's Hat Trick Jackpot, you have the chance to win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets during each playoff game. Just place an anytime goal scorer wager, and if your guy scores 3 or more goals during that game, you'll win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly. There you have it. Aaron Rodgers doing, well, I guess what would be the more Rodgers thing? To kind of drag it out the entire season, will he or won't he retire? Or announce before the year he's retiring, so now there's a retirement tour. I'm not sure, honestly. So when Rodgers said that yesterday and I first saw it, and, I have to remain consistent here, because I've been saying all offseason that I don't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers should have brought him back. And that I think their plan of McCarthy and Rodgers in 2026 is insane. And they can't win the Super Bowl, so what's the point? That's all true. I believe it, and I'm not backing off any of it. But what I am now going to do, and what I would like for you to do also, and for you, it may be more than just those feelings on 2026. It may be that you dislike him because of the drama that he's gotten into on and off the field. You dislike what he said about COVID vaccines, what he said about politics, the darkness retreats, the ayahuasca, and him saying he doesn't like, the drama is like a Kardashian or a Jenner saying they don't like the spotlight. Like, no one believes you, dude. I have said throughout the years, and let's just use the months here on this time slot on Westwood One Sports. I'm never going to try and change your mind if you don't like him. That's your business if you don't like him. And it's fine. It doesn't impact me at all. I don't care. But whether you like him or not, personally, whether or not you think he's still got it in 2026 as an NFL starting quarterback, it's not that it doesn't matter. But I think that we need to view this season with Rodgers through a different prism. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. He will go to Canton on the first ballot. In my estimation, and as you know, I'm somewhat of a football historian, I believe he is one of the 7 best quarterbacks of the Super Bowl era. Brady, Montana, Mahomes, Peyton, Marino, Elway, Rodgers. On a later edition of the show, as we kind of move into the season, I will give you a firm ranking on that, how I would slot them. But Rodgers is in that top. Steve Young and Brett Favre outside that top 7, even if I love Steve Young. Rodgers is one of the 7 best quarterbacks of the Super Bowl era. He authored what I believe is the greatest game I've ever seen a quarterback play. Divisional round following the 2010 season in Atlanta, 31 of 35, just annihilated the Falcons, who were the 1 seed in that game, en route to a Super Bowl championship. You need to appreciate the quarterback this season. You don't have to appreciate the man. You don't have to appreciate what he does off the field. But you need to appreciate who he is as a quarterback in this, his final season. And I truly hope that you are able to do that. Hour 1 done, hour 2 for you coming up on the other side. I will settle one of the dumbest debates in all of sports to start hour number 2 next.
The biggest names in the business are on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Hey, this is Joe Buck, and you have done it. You have found it. You are listening to You Better You Bet. Great decision.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan of CBS, Westwood One, and TNT, and I'm listening, as you do every day, to You Better You Bet with the most handsome single man in the radio business. A man who, if I was not married for 38 years, I might consider myself the kind of guy that can electrify a listening audience and a crowd of bystanders watching him do what he does so well each and every day. Continue to listen right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Brought to you by BetMGM.
The tremendous Sports Thursday edition of You Better You Bet rolls on. Nick Kostos, our crew, and you here on Westwood One Sports. Man, first hour of the show, electric. Aaron Rodgers announcing he's going to retire. You all need to appreciate him. Who does that song, guys? You're going to miss me when I'm gone. Is that Anna Kendrick? When I'm gone, when I'm gone. It's like from like some show or movie or something. At the Knicks game the other night, there was this girl. They do like this. I gotta tell you, the in-game entertainment has really improved at these sporting events. So they did this. Yeah, cups is what it is. Bill just typed it. They did this. It was like this lyric challenge. Where this girl, like, you win 500,000, whatever, 1,500, 2,000 bucks. And they play you, like, a couple things from a song, and you have to, like, do the lyrics when the music runs out. Like, one of them was Taylor Swift, Cruel Summer. I knew that. It's a great song. Maybe it was Blank Space. Whatever. I knew the words. And then it got to, I've never heard this song before, and it was something from Frozen. I don't know. I feel like now that I'm a dad, and especially that I have a young girl, I feel like I'm going to know... I'm going to get all of these references now moving forward. So Cups, I feel like, was one of those. When I'm gone. It wasn't Let It Go. It was another one. I actually know Let It Go. And then they showed she was at the game, Idina Menzel, who was in Frozen, I guess, or whatever. It was the voice of a character. And she is the girl who John Travolta famously, like, butchered her name at the Oscars. This has nothing to do with anything. Where was I going with this? Aaron Rodgers. Like, I really think we're going to miss him when he's gone. And I know that some of you hate him, and I'm not trying to change your mind. But I think we're going to miss him when he's gone. He's an all-time great. Last season. I can't even believe it, because I feel it happening even in this moment right now. I'm going to end up, like, rooting for the Steelers this year. I hated their plan so much. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't. I feel like I'm going to root for them now. I love Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback. I can't even believe I'm in this spot now. I can't even believe this happened. Like, they're not going to win, and yet I'm going to be rooting for them to win this season. Amazing. I think that you don't have to root for them, but I think you need to appreciate greatness while it's still in front of us with the great Aaron Rodgers. And we got into last night's Thunder win over the San Antonio Spurs, tying up that series at 1 apiece as shifts. I keep saying, Bill, you need to, like, electrically prod me when I do this. I keep saying the series goes back to San Antonio. They haven't played there yet. So that's my bad, everybody. That is a verbal crutch that I need to stop leaning on because it's incorrect. Great game last night. Tremendous basketball game. Really high-level hoops. Also, anyone complaining about the officiating needs to take a lap. Like, yes, Isaiah Hartenstein fouled Victor Wembanyama 900 times last night. Also, you would do the same thing if you were them. Also, Shea gets fouled all the time by Stephon Castle. Also, the Spurs need to dust one of these big dudes like Biyombo or Olynyk off the bench, send them into the game to rough up someone on Oklahoma City. And rough up does not mean injure, but send a message. Protect your alien freak show superstar. I don't think they're doing a good enough job of that right now, and that's something the Spurs can change starting in Game 3 tomorrow night, where OKC about a 1-point road favorite. We await concrete injury news on J-Dub with his hammy, Dylan Harper with his hammy, and De'Aaron Fox with his ankle injury. See who will end up playing tomorrow night and over the course of the rest of the series. Patrick McEnroe is going to join us in about 15 minutes. Turner Sports and ESPN and SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio to talk some tennis. The French Open starting next week. Look forward to that. Steve Phillips, former MLB general manager, MLB Network Radio, next hour on the show, along with our friend Justin Termini from NBA Radio, next hour on the program. There has been a spate of excellent football interviews recently on shows other than this one. And look, I love our show, but we can acknowledge that cool stuff happens on other shows. You know, friends of the program, our friend Big Cat from Barstool Sports, along with friend of the show, PFT, like they had a great interview with Bill Belichick recently. At some point, we'll play some audio there from the Belichick interview, because I kind of think people have forgotten just like how good a defensive coach Bill is. Maybe kind of similar to the Rodgers stuff. That was a great interview. You know, Sean McVay was on Bussin' with the Boys with Will Compton and Taylor Lewan. And I think kind of confirms some of the things that I believe about him as it regards Ty Simpson. We can get to that at some point. And just Kenny, have that ready, because maybe we'll go to that here. But the audio that I would really love to play for everybody, and I want to preface all of this by saying, like, yes, I am a huge New York Giants fan. And Eli Manning is my favorite athlete ever. I want to say that right up front. Eli Manning was on Bussin' with the Boys with Will Compton and Taylor Lewan to talk about the whole situation around the 2004 NFL draft, which led to him not going to the Chargers and forcing his way to my New York Football Giants, and why it happened.
I just didn't feel like they were the most committed team to winning at the time. Marty Schottenheimer was the head coach, who was awesome, had great respect for him, but like they came to work me out in New Orleans, went to dinner, and like there was just friction between, you know, the head coach, general manager, like the owners. They're all like yelling, kind of like fighting. We're at a Marriott like restaurant, and you know, Schottenheimer's mad that he's like, we're in New Orleans, we're eating at a Marriott, and you know, so he's like pissed. They're like kind of this bickering, and it just didn't seem like there was a whole lot of like agreement on things, and like they were kind of like committed to building a great winning franchise.
So a couple thoughts there off of the Eli comments. Number one, if you've never been to New Orleans and you've never heard someone talk about the food in New Orleans, just know nobody's lying. The food there is great. Like, really? Like, Eli was going to be the number one pick in the draft that year. And I know, like, Rivers and Ben, I think they'll all go to the Hall of Fame eventually, not J.P. Lossman. Eli was always going to be the number one pick that year. And, like, Rivers and Ben were great. Eli was also the consensus top pick. This would be like you go to New York City, like the Giants are going to work out the number one pick in the draft, and instead of going to, like, Le Bernardin, you go to Sbarro. What? How do you not take Eli Manning to Commander's Palace? Have a little turtle soup. It's delicious. Don't knock it till you try it. So I agree with Eli. And Marty Schottenheimer, who I had the honor and pleasure of working with in my time at NFL Radio, Marty's 100% right about that. Like, what the hell are they thinking? The Marriott. Now, I don't say this to disparage two people who have left us. The GM of the Chargers at the time was A.J. Smith. He passed away a couple of years ago. Marty Schottenheimer also recently passed away. Like, A.J. Smith was a tremendous general manager. Like, worked with Bill Polian in Buffalo for all the years that the Bills were great in the 90s. He's a really good GM. And I think Marty gets dinged because he never got to or won a Super Bowl. He is a tremendous head. Like John Elway ripped their guts out a couple times in the 80s, right? When Marty was the coach of the Browns. Like, they had a couple playoff failures in Kansas City, in San Diego, obviously. Marty was a great coach, and AJ was a great GM. They did not like each other. And Eli was right about that. And in case people have forgotten what happened, you know, they end up, you know, they don't draft Eli, and Marty's the coach for a couple more seasons. And following the 2006 season, the Chargers go 14-2 and lose in their first playoff game to Tom Brady and the Patriots as a favorite. Marlon McCree intercepts a pass by Tom Brady, and Troy Brown strips him of the ball, and the Patriots recover it. They go on to win the game. And Marty gets fired after a 14-2 season when everyone acknowledges the Chargers are the best team in the league, and LT wins MVP. Enter Norv Turner. So that was kind of what was going on here with A.J. Smith and with Marty Schottenheimer. They were button heads for a long time. So Eli Manning was 100% right about that. And by the way, the audio we didn't play for you, which is fine, like there's only so much we can play for you. Eli kind of talks about the fact that Archie, his dad, took the fall for him. And if you're too young to, or if you don't remember this, like Archie basically took all the slings and arrows. Archie stood up and said, I don't want my son to go to San Diego, when as it turns out, Eli's telling you after the fact that Eli didn't want to go there, and his dad stood up and took the criticism. That is a good dad. And I mean, I don't know Archie personally. It seems like he's done pretty well with his life and done pretty well as a father. Like, we should all be so lucky to have a dad like that, that'll take all the criticism and take all the fire for us. That is a great job by Archie Manning. You better you bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos and you on Westwood One Sports. So that now takes us to what I believe is there are many dumb sports debates. Now, dumb doesn't mean that they can't be fun, right? But it's also dumb. There are TV shows that are dumb. It doesn't mean they can't be fun. There are movies that are dumb. It doesn't mean it's not an entertaining waste of a couple hours, right? There are dumb people that you can enjoy, that are good people and you enjoy spending time with. Dumb doesn't have to mean it's not fun. But dumb means dumb. Because with this Eli Manning audio, and credit to Bussin' with the Boys, great job by them, right? It's an awesome piece of audio and a great interview. With this now kind of being brought back into our lives, the 2004 draft and everything circling it, people are now taking the opportunity to revisit, again, I consider to be one of the dumbest debates of all time, which is, who is better, Eli Manning or Phillip Rivers? And, like, if you had swapped them, who would have had the better career? Now, I'll preface this again. I'm a Giants fan. Eli's my favorite athlete ever. I acknowledge that there is a bias there. I say it right off the bat. But I think I give myself some credit and the benefit of the doubt when I say the best of the three is Ben Roethlisberger. Like, I'm a Giants guy. I'm an Eli guy. Ben Roethlisberger is the best quarterback of the three. Like, if only, and this is not how it works, but if only one could make the Hall of Fame, Ben, Eli, or Rivers, it should be Ben Roethlisberger. So I'm not blind to the fact that there are better quarterbacks than Eli Manning. I know that. Of course I know that. He's not even the best Manning. His brother Peyton's way better than Eli. I know that. And Ben's better than Eli. But this idea that Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback than Eli Manning is the stupidest thing in the history of stupid things. It's so dumb, it's almost not worth the conversation, not worth me talking about it on the air, but damn it, I'm going to do it anyway because it pisses me off. And that's where my triple B comes in. Big blue bias. Yes, I am biased towards Eli Manning. But you know what? While Eli Manning did throw a ton of interceptions, he did. It did happen, right? And Eli Manning lost a ton of regular season games. I know. I watched all of them. I also watched Eli Manning win 2 championships, which, in case we've all forgotten, the point of all of this is not to go 12-4 in the regular season. It's not to throw for 45 touchdowns. It's not to set all the passing records. That's not the point. The point of it is to win. The point of it is to raise a banner. The point of it is to raise the Lombardi Trophy. That's the point. Eli did it twice and slayed the biggest dragon in the history of dragons 2 times on the way there. I'm talking Balerion the Dread. Twice. Belichick, Brady, undefeated, 42. Patriots again, 46. Dragon slayed 2 separate times. Phillip Rivers do that? Phillip Rivers even get to a Super Bowl? Now, in fairness to Rivers, it's possible that if Rivers and Tomlinson had both been healthy in the AFC Championship game following the 2007 season, maybe the Chargers would have beaten the then 17-0 Patriots and gone to the Super Bowl to play the Giants. Who do you think would have won that game? Be honest. Who would have won? Super Bowl 42, Giants versus Chargers. Be honest. You know I'm honest. I would tell you if it were the Chargers. I have no problem saying it. Giants would have beaten them. And this whole stupid debate wouldn't even be a thing because Eli would have the head-to-head win in the Super Bowl. But because we never got it, people are hung up on this idea that because Eli threw 1 million interceptions, that Rivers is the better quarterback. And the Giants would have been better served with Phillip Rivers. And I don't even want to turn this into an anti-Rivers thing. I love Phillip Rivers. He's awesome. I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he should go to Canton. Last year, going back to Indianapolis was great. He's great. I don't want to turn this into an anti-Rivers thing. But to retcon this like Rivers is a better quarterback than Eli is crazy. And you know, there is a way that Phillip Rivers is better than Eli. If you need to win, if you need to beat the Raiders in the middle of October on a Sunday afternoon at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time, Phillip Rivers is your guy. But if you need to go to Lambeau and beat the Packers in January, Eli Manning is your guy. Hey, man, late September against the Houston Texans? Yeah. Sign me up for Phillip Rivers. No question about it. February against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick? Who are you taking? Tell the truth. Eli Manning. The Eli Manning disrespect is crazy. It is. No one here, I'm not saying he's one of the best quarterbacks ever. He's not. He's not Breeze. He's not Rodgers. He's not Brady. He's not his brother. He's not Mahomes. He's not, and we'll see. I don't know if Josh Allen will ever get there, but if Allen wins the Super Bowl, you'll put him over Eli, and he's obviously a better quarterback in the regular season than Eli is. There's no question about it. There are a lot of quarterbacks that are better than Eli Manning. But when it came down to it, when it matters the most, who would you rather have? Hell, how many quarterbacks in the history of the league, huge game, January or February, how many quarterbacks would you rather have than Eli Manning in that spot? Not November against the Arizona Cardinals. Not December against the Washington Commanders. Not on Halloween against the Cleveland Browns. January in Lambeau. February against the Patriots. Who would you rather have? How many quarterbacks would you take over Eli Manning? Be honest. There are definitely quarterbacks you'd rather have. I'm not saying he's the first pick, but he's got to be up there. And you people that say, oh, well, what about the defense? Here's the pass rush. Did you actually watch these games? Did you watch them? Did you watch in 2007 when Eli went on the road to Tampa, embarrassed the Buccaneers? Did you watch when they went to Dallas, that's my quarterback, and outplayed Tony Romo? Did you watch in Brett Favre's final game as a Packer, outplay Brett Favre in the NFC Championship game, one of the coldest games ever? Did you watch in 2011 them destroy Matt Ryan and the Falcons? Go to Lambeau and beat MVP Aaron Rodgers and the 15-1 Packers? Go to San Francisco, get the crap kicked out of him by Justin Smith and the Niners and win that game, and then outduel Tom Brady again in the Super Bowl? Did you watch? Or are you a box score monkey going on Pro Football Reference and looking at yardage and touchdown stats? Watch the games. Miss me with it. They're both Hall of Famers. Eli and Rivers. But to insinuate Rivers is better, stop it. And with that, we'll take a break. And on the other side, I'm very excited to have join us, friend of the show and celebrity fan of our New York Knicks, the great Patrick McEnroe, talking French Open here on You Better You Bet.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Joining us right now on the show, it is always an honor and a privilege. And I always love being joined by a fellow fan of the New York Knicks. The great Patrick McEnroe, who's going to be flying to Paris later today. The French Open next week, Roland Garros for our friends at Turner Sports. Max Zone is coming up along with his brother John. ESPN for Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. And holding court Saturdays on Mad Dog Sports Radio, a channel near and dear to my heart and our executive producer Bill Zimmerman's heart. Holding court with Patrick McEnroe Saturday mornings on Mad Dog Sports Radio, channel 82 on Sirius XM. Saturdays, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. On Twitter at his name, Patrick McEnroe. Joins us here on You Better You Bet on this Thursday ahead of a flight to Paris. Patrick, welcome back to the show. How are you, my
Nick,
friend?
you're hired. Okay, you're my promo guy. I love it. Absolutely love coming on with you and the man, Mr. Zimmerman. You guys were the backbone of Mad Dog Sports Radio for so long. So I'm happy to be a small part of it with my little Saturday morning show, which is, I'm happy to say, picking up some steam. So I'm enjoying it, but always love coming on with you.
If that were true, and Bill and I were the backbone of Mad Dog Sports Radio, the channel would be hobbling around like Quasimodo, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So thankfully that is not the case. So before we talk about the tennis and Alcaraz not being there and this boycott, which seems to be very strange, and I definitely want to get your thoughts on it. We were having a conversation off air about just like, going to Paris. That's pretty cool. What is Patrick McEnroe's top-ranked, number one overall draft pick of cheese to eat while in Paris, and why?
Well, I kind of like the hard cheeses, the Gruyere, which you get over in Europe. And I mean, the Brie's pretty darn good there, which is a little softer cheese, which I'm normally not a huge fan of. But I mean, just everything tastes better when you're in Paris, Nick. I mean, the ham, the cheese, the baguettes, and, over at TNT, I mean, they know how to take care of the announcers. So every morning or early afternoon, depending on the schedule for the day, when they show up in the green room, there's the fresh baguettes out, there's the mustards, there's the fresh ham, there's the cheese, and I'm just like, just sign me up, baby. Just sign me up to this deal because there's nothing like it. We actually stay at a hotel now that's basically right across the street from Roland Garros, which is very unusual because most of the players and back in the day stay in Paris in the city. So the commute going back and forth can be a little bit of a pain in the butt, like commuting from the city out to Flushing Meadows for the U.S. Open. So it's like I walk from my hotel, got the great gym I feel like I'm going on vacation. Forget about working for 2 weeks.
So I think that's and I love what you said there about the gym, and because you work it off a little bit, right? Because when you say that, and you're in good shape, you're obviously someone who cares about physical fitness, and I'd say that in like a really complimentary way. Like, how are you not supposed to be in Paris and eat the baguette and eat the ham and eat the cheese? Is that something you think about beforehand? I'm just telling you. I'm vain to the point that I would feel like I'm going to get fat. Now, I'd still do it, but I'd have anxiety about it. You're just like, screw it. I'm in Paris. I'm throwing caution to the winds. We're eating, we're drinking, we're enjoying.
Well, it's a little moderation, Nick, with anything, right? So, you're not going to have too much, but you're going to enjoy it. You got to enjoy it. And plus, I must say the quality of the food, just generally speaking, tends to be a lot better in Europe and particularly in Paris than it is over here. Just on a regular basis. So the food, the quality of the bread is amazing. So I'm gonna dive in. If I put a couple pounds on while I'm there, I'll deal with it, the consequences. But overall, you're right. I'm feeling pretty good about my overall health, and you got to live it up a little bit, Nick.
Absolutely, and just this conversation makes me want to have a glass of wine and smoke a pack of cigarettes.
And you don't even smoke, right?
I'll tell you what. You give me a drink, and I would like to. Those baguettes. You hold the ham, you hold the cheese. I would like to eat a cigarette sandwich after I have one drink, like a cigarette hero.
There's
only if I have
plenty of that going on over there, no doubt.
Absolutely love it. All right, so I'm excited for this tournament. It's going to be awesome. Obviously, we had the legendary final last year. It's one of the best tennis matches. We talked about it on the air after it happened here on You Better You Bet with Alcaraz and Sinner. It is a tremendous bummer, obviously, that Alcaraz won't be participating in this event. He won't be participating in Wimbledon, it was just announced, with his wrist injury. So I don't say this to mute the excitement. Obviously, you're excited. Sports fans absolutely love it. But I mean, significant bummer, right, to not have Carlos Alcaraz here for the Alcaraz-Sinner rivalry to continue.
Oh no, he's a huge bummer, and the fact that he already Nick has announced has Alcaraz that he's not going to play on the grass at all, including Wimbledon. Leaves you very concerned about how serious his injury is. It's been very difficult to find out exactly what's wrong. No one, at least I don't know, haven't been able to find out if he's actually had surgery. Is he going to have surgery? Other players in the past have dealt with serious wrist issues. Nadal had one sort of midway through his career. In fact, that was one of the years he didn't win the French. He actually pulled out. I believe it was before his third round match. The wrist injury was so serious. Nadal has been in touch with Alcaraz. I don't know exactly if it's a similar injury, but clearly Alcaraz is looking at the bigger picture, the longevity. He's still obviously quite young, but it hurts the tournament. I mean, there's just no. I mean, he's the most electric name and player in tennis. It's not even close. But what it does do, Nick, is makes things a little more intriguing because I see you got the odds up there, and Sinner's a massive favorite. As I'm not surprised looking at the numbers, but it opens the door for some other guys. Where there's Casper Ruud, who, by the way, is in the same section of the draw as Djokovic. They will play in, I believe it's the third or fourth round, and you see Ruud his ranking has dropped, but he's had a very good clay court season. He's been a guy that's been in a couple of French Open finals. I love this kid Arthur Fils from France. He's a shot maker. He's an absolute an incredible athlete, similar with his speed and his movement to Sinner and Alcaraz. So you see him in there. And then Rafael Yodar. A lot of people probably never heard of him, Nick. He was playing for the University of Virginia. Wow. Okay, and he was actually on campus early this past year to start his second year. And he started playing some pro tournaments. He went up the ranking so quickly. He said, I got to go pro. Now the guy's seeded. And as you can see, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 favorite to win the tournament. So this is a guy who's going to, I believe, threaten the big two. I don't know if he's going to do it here, but he's a guy that's going to be in the mix. And we've been waiting for that one other guy. Can anyone threaten these big two? Ben Shelton, we're hoping on the men's side for an American. Taylor Fritz has kind of tailed off a little bit. Medvedev back in the mix there. And João Fonseca, the Brazilian kid, who's got major upside and firepower. He's a seed as well, low seed in the mid to high 20s. But he's another guy these guys got to look at this now, Nick, as an opportunity to make some noise and make a deep run in a major.
What I find so interesting about that, and when you said big two, I'm thinking Sinner and I'm thinking Djokovic, and I'm like, okay, we saw Alcaraz, right? As we move forward, it was Sinner and Alcaraz, and you think about what the big three has been in men's tennis for so long with Djokovic and with Federer and with the aforementioned Rafa Nadal, and Djokovic is the only one that's still playing. He's the third choice right now to win this tournament at 12-1, and I'm fascinated to hear your answer to this question because I legitimately don't know. Where is Djokovic? He's the third choice on the board, and yet I kind of look at that and think, can he actually win this tournament? What is the current state of Novak Djokovic's quality of play and your realistic expectations for him at this tournament?
It is absolutely the 100% greatest right question right now because the answer is we don't know. And the reason he's there at the number 3 spot in the odds is just because of who he is and what he's done. He's played one match on clay all year, which he lost in Rome. Took pretty much the clay court season off. I believe he was thinking, Nick, after he made that incredible win over Sinner in Australia, which to me was one of the greatest, maybe the greatest win of his career. And this is someone that's won 24 majors, okay? Epic wins over Federer, over Nadal in Australia. But to do what he did at 38, against two guys that have been utterly dominating him in the field was remarkable. So he has that in the bank. So that's why he's the number 3 favorite, because people saw what he did in Australia. That's only a few months ago. That being said, and particularly when you look at his draw, it just came out. The draw just came out. So I'm just looking at my phone because I got a few of the highlights. I mean, he's got Pechi Pericard, the big serving Frenchman, who's dangerous. Okay, he's got Fonseca possibly in round 3, and then Ruud in round 4. Okay, so that's a brutal draw for Djokovic. Now, if he plays the way we've seen him do over the years, he can definitely get through and be a factor and possibly win this. But he could also lose early. And I think, back to my initial point, I think he was actually contemplating not even playing Paris this year and just gearing himself up for Wimbledon because that's his best chance to win another major. And then I think when he heard that Alcaraz was out, he's like, okay, wait a second. Maybe I should reconsider, because if he's healthy, he can beat everyone in the field except for Sinner. And then he obviously beat Sinner. Sinner beat him last year in straight sets on clay. Sinner would be a massive favorite. But Novak has got to be thinking, well, if the draw breaks right, I can't probably beat both guys back to back. But if I only got to beat one, who knows what could happen? Maybe Sinner gets picked off. He's on this incredible win streak, Sinner. So at some point, it's like, he's going to lose sometime. So I think that's why you see Novak up there so high. The good news for him, Nick, is that he's in the other half of the draw from Sinner. So he won't have to play Sinner in the semifinals. The bad news is that he's got a really tricky draw just to get through the first week of the tournament.
This is can be a pencil, not pen answer, so I won't hold you to the answer. I'm legitimately curious. Yes or no? Will Novak Djokovic win another major in his career?
No. I've said that for 2.5 years before the beginning of when he won the U.S. The last major won by someone other than Sinner and Alcaraz was him at the 23.
Why
US
do you think
Open.
He's still playing? Why do you think he's still playing? If that's
because
the case?
he believes he can, and I'm not going to say he can't.
What
You
a
asked me,
psycho!
do you think he will? And I'm going to say no. That being said, first of all, he's the third best player on the planet in the last 2 years. Okay, he's beaten Zverev in big matches. He's pretty much beaten everyone, at least in the majors, maybe not in the tour events. So and he's still got that itch that he wants to scratch. He loves this challenge of trying to that's why I say the win over Sinner was one of the most remarkable performances ever. That he was able to beat him, because Sinner, by all intents and purposes, should beat him every time they play, which he's basically done for the last few years. So I give him, my hat is tipped to him, because of course he's already the greatest of all time, Nick. So he loves this challenge, and I think he's getting a lot of love from the fans now, more so than ever before, which is well deserved, because Federer and Nadal have these incredible fan bases that overshadowed his fan base. But now people are appreciating him for all the things he's done, and the fact that he's still putting himself through physically, mentally, all that he needs to do to compete with these two young bucks the way he did in Australia.
I'm going to phrase this question a specific way. And just going back to my time, I've been watching sports since 1990, right, as a tennis fan. And, even your brother can fit under this umbrella that I'm going to talk about. Sampras was a little understated, but absolutely had the personality. Agassi obviously had a ton of charisma. Djokovic has a ton of charisma. Nadal has a ton of charisma. Federer has a ton of charisma. Alcaraz is absolutely electric. Sinner is a great player, obviously, right? I don't know if he's got that kind of sizzle that these other guys have. So the question that I have for you, it's less, can one of these guys beat Jannik Sinner? It's more, if you had to pick, and I'm not interested necessarily in Zverev or Medvedev. We've seen them for a number of years, and Djokovic we've seen obviously as well. If you had to pick a player on the men's side, and this can be a combo of going far in the tournament and also capturing the hearts and minds of both diehard tennis fans and casual fans, who do you think is ready for a star-making turn potentially on the men's side of this tournament?
I think Yodar is, because I think this is when players come that are going to be great players, Nick, they generally just burst onto the scene. Almost, it feels like out of nowhere. And Yodar, even though we've known him in the tennis world, the way he's kind of just gone out onto the main tour, basically in the last 2 months, and just gone out there with this persona. He beats Fonseca, I think it was in Rome, and destroyed him in the third set. And Fonseca's been kind of the it guy, the young guy coming up that people, Brazilians love him. And he's got a huge fan base. But this guy, Yodar, is the real deal. Not only does he have major firepower off both wings, he's a big guy, very untraditional for a Spanish player. Of course, Alcaraz does everything. He's the greatest shot maker we've ever seen. But this kid, Yodar, plays almost like a kind of a hardcore Southern Californian type game, big bombs off both wings, but he can move, he can play with some finesse, and he's got moxie. And that's what you love to see from someone that's just kind of coming onto the scene. So I think he's a guy that we should be watching. Obviously the odds makers know their stuff. They've got him up there. And he's someone that I think, I'm not sure he can win it yet, because I don't know if he has the physical strength to be able to go the distance like you got to do in best of 5, once you get to the quarters, semis, finals. But I would not be surprised at all if this guy's playing deep into this tournament here at Stade Roland Garros.
Based on that answer, I would love to see him deep in the tournament along with Sinner, along with Djokovic. I'd love for this to be that type of tournament as we reach the end. You bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos and you, Westwood One Sports, joined by, and he's very generous with his time, our friend Patrick McEnroe. Mac Zone coming up on Turner for the French Open at Roland Garros, ESPN, and of course holding court on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio Saturday mornings, 7 a.m. Eastern on Channel 82. Easy just to say it's Jannik Sinner that wins this event, Patrick?
I'm always going to put, he's a prohibitive favorite. Obviously, we know that. But I'm not going to go there. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. In a way, even more pressure now that Alcaraz is out. So that's a little bit of an X factor. The weather in Paris can be unpredictable, meaning it can actually it's supposed to be very hot to start the tournament. So early in the tournament, it's supposed to be like almost 90, which in France is very unusual for that time of year. So, we've seen Sinner have trouble in the heat at times. In Australia, he got saved by the blistering heat. It got so hot.
Remember that, right?
Yeah,
that was crazy when that happened. Yeah.
So he would have been out of the tournament, okay, if they had kept playing, because he'd hit the wall. The other factor in Paris that can happen, and particularly now that they have the night matches, and Sinner will I'm pretty sure be playing quite a few matches at night, is that it can actually get really cold at night. So that changes the conditions in another way. So if you're just telling me, 1 against 1, there's very few guys that can play with Sinner. But we throw in some of these names. Shelton is his seed, by the way, in his quarter of the draw. I'm just looking at the draw now. Sinner, Shelton would be a quarterfinal. That would be a great result for Shelton to get that far on clay. Then you've got Auger-Aliassime or Medvedev. That's pretty much a gimme, I would say, for Sinner. But is there someone else, lurking? I'm just giving you the top 8 seeds right now. So that is what I think is the most intriguing about it. But, my brother and I did a call I think it was yesterday for the Mac Zone, with the press. And my brother said he'll take Sinner versus the field. So there you go.
Wow. Seems minus 325 to win this major feels like a crazy number, but no Alcaraz obviously is how you get there, I think, right?
I'd be interested to know who has been that big of a favorite in a major on the men's side in a while, because I don't remember. You're the expert on that, but that to me looks. That gap between the 1 and 2 is just scary.
We're going to try and we will effort to find the answer to that question before we let you go.
Mr. Zimmerman on now. He's just slacking off over there. Come on.
Hey, Bill, let's get going here, buddy.
Yeah.
Where are we at here to close on our New York Knicks?
We were actually chatting too before we started. You were lucky enough to be at the game. My brother's a regular in Celebrity Row, and he had 2 tickets, right in the first row. And then we had a charity dinner that he and I had to do. Someone won, this for our charity at the John McEnroe Tennis Academy. We raised money for kids, that wouldn't normally be able to play and compete at a high level. So this dinner had been planned like months ago, and it got canceled like 2 different times. So when John realized that it was the same night as Game 1, with the way the NBA schedule turned out, let's just say he was not happy, Nick. So luckily we started the dinner a little early at 7:00. I kind of pushed things along, and it turned out that our guests that were there also were Knick fans. So we suffice to say that when we left the restaurant, we could see the game with at the bar. And we're looking at it, and John's like, there's Pat, my wife and his daughter were in his 2 seats in the first row. So he was happy that they got the opportunity. I'm going to France tonight to do a little prep work for the Mac Zone for TNT. And guess where Johnny Mac will be tonight?
Good for you guys, man.
He'll be back
you guys.
He'll be back in Celebrity Row, back where he belongs. Are you going to be there again tonight?
Unfortunately, I have a 2-year-old, and I feel like I gotta enter the Mac Zone at some point. I'm not quite there yet in my career.
All right, well, you can enter the Mac Zone anytime you want next week during the tournament. We'd love to have you.
I would love to enter the Mac Zone. And by the way, I have an answer to your question. 2009 French Open. Rafa Nadal was minus 400.
Wow.
Do you remember who he lost to in a huge upset in the semifinals of that tournament? Federer won the tournament, beat this guy in the final.
Robin Soderling.
Correct.
He
so
didn't lose,
Nadal didn't even win.
Lose to him in the semifinals, by the way. He lost to him earlier in the tournament. I think he lost to I think it was the fourth round. One of the biggest upsets ever. And of course, we know what Rafa did, 14 French Open titles. But that's amazing. That goes to Bill, little golf clap. Way to go, baby.
It wasn't even Bill. It
wasn't even Bill. All right.
It wasn't even Bill.
Well, whoever
what
did
he
it.
Doing? I have to tell you, when I said semifinal, I said it with all the confidence of like Yannick Sinner smoking one down the line. I thought for sure.
A lot of times,
that was right.
The confidence is key. Having the confidence is key. We all have to do it in this business.
Hey man, I love having you on the show. You're the best. Max Zone coming up for our friends on TNT and Turner Sports for the French Open, ESPN obviously for Wimbledon, U.S. Open, Holding Court, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, Saturday morning 7 a.m. Eastern on Channel 82, and fan of the New York Knicks. Most importantly, my friend Patrick McEnroe. Patrick, thank you very much, sincerely.
Go New York, go New York, go.
It's the Knicks, and we're back on case. Everyone's gearing up for the championship race.
We're all gearing up.
Love it.
All the best.
Patrick
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Patrick McEnroe here with us on You Better You Bet. We are way late, as per usual. We'll take a break, and I don't know, cut 3, keep 5. Keep 3, cut 5. Bill's got a game for us. We'll play it next.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
Guys, we'll do the BetMGM read to start next hour. Just in the interest of time, Bill Zimmerman has a game for us to play here. Bill, what do we got?
All right, Nick, with Aaron Rodgers announcing his retirement, there are 17 quarterbacks that are exactly 1-0 starting in Super Bowl games. We're going to have you keep 3, cut 5 of those 17 quarterbacks. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
We are starting with Drew Brees.
Oh, I don't have time to think about all of them because we're running short on time.
Yes.
Here.
So it actually is going to help me on this one to defeat you.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Bart Starr has 2. Len Dawson's on this list. I don't want to do. You can't do this to me. Len Dawson's on the list. Len's in the Hall of Fame. Stabler's on this list. Who else is on this list? All the Redskins quarterbacks are on the list, and none of them make it. Jim McMahon doesn't make it. Sims is. Oh, my guy Phil Sims is on the list. Steve Young's on the list. He has to be one of the 3. The 3 are Rodgers, Young, and Brees. Those are the 3.
Are you sure?
Who am I missing?
We'll go through it quickly. Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay. So Brees. Keep.
You said you're keeping Drew Brees.
Keeping
Joe
Drew Brees.
Willie Namath.
Cut.
Cutting Joe Namath. Ken the Snake Stabler.
Cut.
All right, we're cutting Stabler. Aaron Rodgers.
Keep.
Your guy, Phil Sims.
Sorry, Phil. We're cutting you, even though I love your son, Chris.
All right. I'm going to make you think about this one. Matthew Stafford.
Cut.
He's cutting Stafford. Steve Young, then.
Keep.
He keeps Steve Young. And we are wrapping this up with the legendary Joe Flacco.
Yeah, cut. I smoked it.
Yeah, Stafford was the one I thought you might get hung up on. But yeah, you
got over those 3?
But I do have to say, Len Dawson, do you remember who Bart Starr defeated in Super Bowl I?
Yeah, they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, so Len Dawson is not 1-0 in Super Bowl games.
Fair enough. Do you remember who he beat? Who was the starting quarterback in Super Bowl II that he defeated?
Bart Starr. That was Daryl LaMonica.
Whose nickname was what in the AFL?
Was it the Mad Bomber?
The Mad Bomber. You know your stuff, Bill Zimmerman. That's good. It's a good job out of you.
Super Bowl trivia.
I smoke these games, man. Thank you, Bill, for speaking in this audio medium. Power Hour coming up next. We will start the hour talking Major League Baseball ahead of Memorial Day weekend with friends of the show, Steve Phillips.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos and the crew. Presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Kenny. Final hour. Power hour. You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos, our amazing crew, and you. The Power Hour and every hour here on You Better You Bet, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And with BetMGM's Hat Trick Jackpot, you have the chance to win your share of $10,000 in bonus bets during each playoff game. Just place an anytime goal scorer wager, and if your player scores 3 or more goals during the game, you'll win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets. Download the BetMGM app today, and as always, please gamble responsibly. Our friend Justin Termini from NBA Radio will join us about 20 minutes from now. We look forward to that. A lot to discuss with our friend JT. Our bets for tonight will close the show, and I'll tell everybody how I will bet the Western Conference Finals in the National Hockey League after Vegas stole Game 1 last night on the road in Colorado, thanks to a sensational performance by goalie Carter Hart. But joining us right now to kick off the Power Hour, because, Memorial Day this weekend, we absolutely love it. And this is the time, really, where you can start to plant the take flags for the Major League Baseball season. Because it means that the season is really kicking into high gear once we get past the Memorial Day holiday. So joining us right now to talk some Major League Baseball with us as we head towards Memorial Day, friend of the show, the Silver Fox, the very caffeinated Steve Phillips, and the very handsome Steve Phillips. MLB Network Radio, MLB Network, and TSN on Twitter at Steve Phillips GM. Steve, welcome back to the show. Your pal Nick Kostos. What's going on?
Nick, good to be with you, buddy. How's everything?
I am great. Just curious before we start, how much caffeine this morning for our friend Steve Phillips?
Yeah, so I had a Celsius, one of those energy drinks. And then I had a pot of coffee on top of that. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. I do know this, that by about 2:30, 3 o'clock, I'll have a big-time crash that I'm either going to have to recaffeinate or take a nap. I'm not sure which. And sometimes my eyes just close, and I may be driving when it happens, but it can happen.
Let's say there are 20 days. And in those 20 days, you have a Celsius and a pot of coffee in the morning. And as you said, that the eyes will start to close after the crash around 2:30. Out of those 20 days, how many does Steve Phillips, A, recaffeinate versus B, take a nap out of 20, just to use a round number?
Yeah. Good question. Right. So a lot depends. If I'm in Secaucus, New Jersey at MLB Network TV and I'm driving home, then I'm usually sleep driving, and I'm taking the nap while I'm driving. So that's that. But that's only, maybe, 3 days a month. So that I have that drive. So I would say that probably, out of 20 days, I am napping 7 and recaffeinating 13.
So I think we'll talk baseball, I promise, in a second, but I think this is so interesting because I talked with my wife about this. What is the ideal time for a midday nap? I actually think the answer is, I think 20 minutes is the answer to the question. What is the ideal time for an afternoon nap?
Right. So that's the challenge of it all, is that if you get in fight mode where you're fighting the nap, then it's going to take longer because, you're sort of dozing, you're fighting, waking up, you're dozing, and you're sort of prolonging it. If you just give into it, for me, sometimes it would take a half an hour. And if I turn on something on TV, I generally have to rewind about 30 minutes with whatever I was watching, whether it's a game or a movie or something else. But I think a nice 30-minute cat nap is probably the way to go.
I love it. I want to keep asking you questions about this, but always generous with your time. So we'll talk some Major League Baseball here, my friend. And I think it's important to start with, the team that just wins the World Series every year and is the favorite to win it again. Reports of the Dodgers' demise, Steve, about a week ago seem to have been greatly exaggerated. Ohtani, terrific last night on the mound and at the dish. They've won 7 of 10 now, taking the set against the San Diego Padres. Where is Steve Phillips at on the reigning 2-time defending World Series champion LA Dodgers as we careen towards Memorial Day?
Yeah, they're going to go into the playoffs. They'll win the West. And the amazing thing is they've scored 50 more runs. They've scored 50 more runs than the Padres, and they've given up 39 fewer runs than the Padres. And so I know it's closer in the standings, a game and a half, but it's not close. I mean, they're so much better. So I look at it and think that the Dodgers are by far the best team of the West. I think the Braves are really good, but I don't know that the Braves, if Schwellenbach comes back and Strider gets locked in with Sale, if he's fresh enough at the end, then I think their big three can match up with the Dodgers. But by then, Skubal will probably be a Dodger, and it'll be, I think even more daunting heading into the playoffs. But I'm not concerned about the Dodgers in the least. They're going to win the division by 5 to 10 games, and they're going to be right back in the playoffs again.
You snuck that in very, very casually there, and the reason why I say it like that is because, you do baseball content, right? Like, this is an all-sports show, and we're on the period of the calendar where we're coming off the NFL draft and the schedule and the NBA playoffs and the hockey playoffs. So, we are into baseball on the show, but it doesn't really take center stage for about a month from now once the NBA and hockey end. So, obviously, we know
sure.
we know the Skubal situation, right? And is he going to get traded? Is he not going to get traded? He just underwent to remove the loose bodies in his elbow, but is expected back sooner than we might have originally thought. And maybe he gets traded. You said that, Steve, that he's going to be a Dodger, and I know you're not guaranteeing it, and I'm not trying to insinuate that you are, unless you would like to actually say that. But is this a fait accompli in your eyes that Tarik Skubal will be a Los Angeles Dodger come trade deadline time?
I mean, the Tigers are fading. Now, the American League is so bad so far. So I think that they're 20 and 29 or something like that. And they're 2.5 out of the wild card. And so get things straightened out a bit. And nobody seems to be separating. The Guardians are leading the Central and fairly significantly. But, everybody else there's only 3 teams over 500 right now. I think the Guardians, the Yankees, and the Rays, everybody else is sort of limping into it. So, so I look at it and think that maybe they can get back in, but they're going to be in that position where they have to make a decision. And if they're under 500 and they're, 5 out of a wild card, I think you have to trade them. And if you do, I think the Dodgers are in a position to put the best package together to get them. They've got the DePaula kid, the outfielder there in the organization. They could put a Dalton Rushing in a deal if they wanted to. They could put an Emmett Sheehan in a deal if they wanted to. And if you're the Tigers, there's even a way you can trade a Skubal and still try to compete the rest of the year if you get a package of Major League ready players in return. And I think in Detroit, they need to focus on adding some offense into the mix there too. That's the one area that I just don't know they score enough. But if he's available and he's shown that he's healthy, and I suspect that we'll be at that point, I would consider the Dodgers as the favorites to get him.
Steve, people are going to freak out if the Dodgers get Tarik Skubal, right?
Yeah, they're going to freak out. They're going to say it's unfair. It's not. But we get mad when people run their business properly. What are we doing? We're getting mad at a team who keeps doing it the right way. I mean, they make money hand over fist. They've turned Ohtani into just a money printing machine in Asia and in Los Angeles, and they're deferring that money, but they're making money on his money while it's being deferred. They're an investment company that invests money, and it's not dissimilar to what we did with Bonilla back in the day when everybody gets worked up about his deferred comp, but that money was being invested while it was being deferred, and the notion was that the Mets were going to make close to $60 million on Bonilla's money that was being deferred over time. And so Same thing with Ohtani. He's that $68 million that they're not paying him of the $70 million per year. They're investing that, making money on his money, and they're getting all the advertising and hit on that too. That the time value of money is so good for them because they know how to invest it. So I think that people will get mad about it, but we can't get mad just because somebody's doing it better than we are.
Let's go to the other team, Steve, that makes people really mad in Major League Baseball for different reasons. Some of them are the same. My New York Yankees. Garrett Cole expected back tomorrow night for the Yankees, who had a great start to the season, skidding a little bit as of late. Tampa's been playing unbelievable baseball. Where are you at right now, Steve, on the New York Yankees with Garrett Cole set to rejoin the rotation?
Yeah, so it's always hard to know what a guy's going to be coming back from Tommy John, and generally they get back to what they were, but it can take some time. But, with Fried out right now, the timing of Cole coming back is really important because, if he can come back in and be himself again, then, they weather the storm until Max Fried comes back, and then they're that much better. But they have tremendous pitching depth. I mean, Cam Schlittler is legitimately a top-flight pitcher. And Rodon's back in the mix. He's on the mound tonight. But the Yankees are in a really good spot. They're a great team. They have depth. They have balance. They're leading the league in home runs offensively. And so, they may have to fortify the bullpen a little bit as they get down the stretch. But that's the area where you can improve your team more easily than anywhere else. So I think the Yankees are in a very good spot, but Tampa Bay is playing out of their minds right now. The question is when you get to July and August and teams have made an adjustment and the platoon situation that you go with where you try to work matchups, somebody gets hurt and then you got a much lesser player in that spot replacing the guy who was matching up well for you. Can you sustain success? And can McClanahan stay healthy all year coming back from that nerve issue? Rasmussen is a guy who's had his share of injuries, really good pitcher, but he's had his share of injuries. Nick Martinez has a 1.5 ERA. Can that truly continue, or are we going to get some significant regression toward the mean? So, the Rays are going to hit a wall at some point. They are going to struggle, and the question is, can they bring it back? But they've built up enough of a margin right now that even if they play 500 baseball the rest of the year, they're still going to be a playoff team. It comes down to whether they win the division or not.
You better you bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos and you on Westwood One Sports. Our guest, friend of the show, the Silver Fox, our friend Steve Phillips, former general manager, MLB Network Radio, MLB Network TV, and TSN. Let's talk about, Steve, the great city of Chicago, and start with the all of a sudden in a rut, and that's the Craig Counsell saying it, Chicago Cubs. And Pete Crow Armstrong, who seems to be in the news for all the wrong reasons recently, verbally jousting with a White Sox fan over the weekend, committing insane errors in back-to-back games, apologizing to Cubs fans, apologizing to his pitching staff. What the hell is going on right now, Steve, with the Chicago Cubs?
Yeah, they're struggling, and it seems like they had played such great baseball. They had won 15 straight games at Wrigley Field. So many of them in walk-off fashion. The fans were excited, but they've hit a wall. They've made 3 errors in the game yesterday. They had more errors than hits yesterday. And this is one of the best, if not the best, defensive team in baseball. One of the things Pete Crow Armstrong talked about is just trying too hard, trying to make a play when there's not a play there, and he got himself in trouble overrunning a ball that became a Little League home run in the game yesterday. They need some more pitching. They need a stopper. Justin Steele should be back at some point, coming back from Tommy John. He had a bit of a setback, but they do think he'll be back at some time in July. But they've got to get things turned around, and the offense has to do it. When their offense is going, it gives the pitcher some margin for error, and everybody relaxes, and nobody feels like they've got to be perfect. But they're going to be fine. The Brewers also have their number, and it reminds me when I was with the Mets as the general manager, the Braves had our number. We just couldn't beat them. And it had that feeling every time we went in there that whenever something went wrong, it was like, oh, there it is. And I think the Cubs feel that way with Milwaukee. And the Brewers, they find ways to win and get things done. And that sort of Pat Murphy, Craig Counsell rivalry where they're good friends, it also is one where I think Murphy always wants to beat them.
Steve, I said earlier in the interview, and I said it a couple times before you came on, that, one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on today is because we're almost at Memorial Day, right? And that's kind of the spot in the season where you can say, okay, like we're past the beginning and things may be real now. So a couple weeks ago, when the Chicago White Sox are playing really well, I think it's a fair thing to say that maybe it's not real. And look, maybe they enter Memorial Day under 500. We'll see. But as we stand right now, the White Sox are over 500. They're 25-24. And I'm not insinuating they're going to win the World Series, but it's starting to feel a little real for the White Sox. Is it real right now for the Chicago White Sox? And if so, what is your definition of the word real?
Yeah, so I think that they're, I think they're third in home runs in baseball, and that 3-run homers remedy a lot of other issues that you have. Murakami and Colson Montgomery have homered together in 8 games this year. Throw in Vargas, and they've homered in 5 games as the trio this year. And so, they've got real power. Their pitching's better than what people think in coming in. Davis Martin's pitched great for them. But even a lot of the young guys that are there are competitive. Now, I think that being right around 500 going into July is probably where I see them. And then I see them probably finishing up as like a 74 and 88, a 76 and 86 team. I don't think they'll stay around 500. At some point, I think the war of attrition with young guys ends up taking a toll, and they fall back because they just don't know how to manage the rigors of a full season yet. But it's a big step in the right direction. I think I think the bigger surprise are the Cardinals, where they are, because, I thought that the Cardinals, with the disassembling that they went through, would be like the White Sox. And where the White Sox are surprising, I thought the Cardinals would be, a 74-win team, and they're 8 or 9 games over 500 right now. Now, some of the numbers that you look at indicate that that's probably fool's gold a little bit, that they are 8 games over 500, and they have a -1 run differential. And so timing has been a factor for their winning, that, they've won some of the close games, and that they've actually beaten up on teams over 500 fairly well. But I think at some point that's going to come crashing back a bit too, that regression toward the mean. I don't think they have the kind of pitching to sustain, a 583 winning percentage and to keep going like this. So it's been a great story. And here's the reality is that when you think about the White Sox, you think about the Cardinals even, who have cut their payroll significantly. You think about the Athletics leading the AL West, the Guardians in the Central, the White Sox in the Central, the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League East. I think those small market owners who want to cry for a salary cap don't have much of a leg to stand on right now, because salaries don't seem to be a factor in who's winning this year. And small market teams are competing evenly or better than large market teams are. And so, it may sort of quell that energy from owners to fight for a salary cap because they are playing so well, that maybe it makes the collective bargaining agreement a bit more comfortable moving forward.
Last one for you here, Steve. What are your expectations rest of the season for your former team, the New York Mets?
Yeah, so I didn't love them coming in. Everybody else thought they were a 90-win team, and I thought they were less this year than they were last year. And then, Lindor gets hurt, and they still don't really have a timetable for when he's coming back. And they've turned things around a little bit. They played some better baseball, and some of the young guys have given them some energy. But all they've done is they're still making some of the mistakes that were costing the games before. They have a little more heart. They're fighting through it now, and they're coming back and winning in some of those games where they make some fairly critical mistakes. But at some point that catches up with you too. And I'm not convinced about their starting pitching beyond McClain and Peralta. And even Peralta has not been great. Devin Williams has been on a pretty good run, but I don't know that I really trust him at the end of the game on a consistent basis. And then, from a power perspective in run production, I don't know that they have what it's going to take to be able to to outslug some of the bad starting pitching or the defensive mistakes that they make. So it's nice to see them fighting back a bit, and they're a fun team to watch. I do like the young kids, and with Benj and Ewing and Beatty and Vientos and those guys getting an opportunity. But I have a feeling that they're going to finish in at best fourth place in the National League East.
Final one for you here. You've conducted a number of drafts in your career. If there were a draft, Memorial Day barbecue food, what is Steve Phillips' first overall pick in that draft?
Yeah, no, good call. And generally, I am a ribs guy. I do like my barbecue ribs, and am willing to go with chili dogs on top of that as well, or kielbasa. But I'm sort of a stock meat guy come Memorial Day. I do like my meat barbecued and looking for the hot dogs, kielbasa, or the ribs.
Steve, you're the best. Love having you on the show. Appreciate the time. Good luck. Hopefully there will not be a sleep drive later, and we'll catch up with you down the line.
Good. I appreciate it. All right, man. Thanks very much.
Our friend Steve Phillips here with us on You Better You Bet. Bill, can you pop on here for a second? Our executive producer, Bill Zimmerman. We'll break in a minute here, but I need Bill for a moment. So, okay. What is the percent chance? And no matter what the answer is to this question, it actually doesn't matter. What is the percent chance that Steve Phillips knows my name?
I think it's above 50%.
How?
He never says it, though. He never says it.
How much above 50% would you say it is?
Let's put it, I don't know, 70? How about we go with 70? I mean, I used your name in the text messages, so it's
we work
there.
together. Like, we work together.
Right.
I was going to say maybe the first number is a 6. I think it's above 50 also, but it's not 100.
It is not 100.
It's not 100.
He has never said, "Hey, Nick, how are you?" at the beginning of the interview. So.
Meanwhile, here's Patrick McEnroe. The word Nick was said more than Sinner or Alcaraz in that interview. I'm not criticizing. I'm happy. I love Steve. I'm happy he comes on the show. He's very funny. He has like an offbeat sense of humor. He makes me laugh. We need to break, right? Like right now.
Justin's coming on in a few minutes. Yeah.
All right, I have a Memorial Day food take that I'll do at the end of the show. Justin Termini joins us next from NBA Radio.
I didn't want to have one timeout at the end of the game, 1 or 2 point game. I try to hold them,
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
The hell's Kenny Atkinson talking about? It's like you go out and a girl likes you and you like her and you screw it up, and then afterwards they're like, hey, like, what happened? You're like, I wouldn't do anything differently. All good. I didn't want to get laid tonight. No problem. Really? You're cool with not using those timeouts? You lost? No problem? Really? Can't just tell the truth? Very interesting. Joining us right now to talk some NBA on the show, Kenny Atkinson, the Cavs, my Knicks, the Thunder and the Spurs, and more. The star of Sirius XM NBA Radio. NBA Today, weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, along with Eddie Johnson, the great Justin Termini, and he is doing a great job getting his YouTube content out there as well on Instagram and in other places. YouTube.com/Termini Radio. Termini crashing out. Be sure to check it out. He joins us here on the show. How's he faring today on this Thursday?
I can sympathize with Kenny because I go out just like you said. He holds his timeouts. I hold my condoms. I like to save them then. And then I go home with them and I never use them. So he holds his timeouts, goes home with them. I go home with the condoms. I never use them.
I got to tell you something. At least you use them, man. I think we got too many people getting a little loose with this stuff. Maybe I was one of them back in the day, but also, I was going to say maybe not, but All right, let's start with last night's game with the Thunder and the Spurs. We'll work our way to the Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The biggest story for Justin Termini coming out of Oklahoma City's Game 2 win to even up the series at a game apiece is what and why?
Well, I'd like it to be the injuries, and probably it is. Like, big picture, it's the injuries. You'd like it to be the play. Like, SGA was fantastic last night. He bounced back. To me, it's what Isaiah Hartenstein was able to get away with in just holding Wembanyama. If we're going to allow that with the best player in the sport, you'd think the NBA would want the best player in the sport to be able to move. And I'm not talking about SGA. He's not the best player in the sport. It's Wembanyama. And Hartenstein, the entire time, is just grabbing his arm. And I think, how you're supposed to play like that. Now, I think it's a smart strategy for OKC, and OKC should keep running with it as long as it's going to be allowed. And I'm sure that they're sending in the film to the NBA to say, the Spurs are saying you can't allow this, and then the NBA will tell the refs, keep your eye open for this. But they did get away with it for one game, and if it continues for the rest of the series, injuries aside, then it's going to be very difficult for San Antonio to win.
Do you think is it less kind of like keep an eye on it and more, and I'm fascinated your opinion on this, right? I said to start the show, like, I'm not saying Wemby will be as good as Michael, as good as Shaq. Like, that's not the point of this. But it feels like he's entered that rarefied air where kind of if you don't bang him around, like, he's going to beat you. He's going to go for 40 and 20 like he did in game 1. Like, he's that good already. So for me, almost, JT, it's less of like, do the refs need to call this, and more like, if they don't, he's going to go for 40 and 20 every game. Like Shaq got fouled every time he had the ball. Jordan got fouled constantly. We had the Jordan rules. It didn't get called. This, to me, just feels like Wemby's entered that zone, and this is what he's going to have to deal with the rest of his career. You have a thought on that opinion?
Well, I agree. I mean, teams are going to try and go about and find ways to do stuff like what they did last night. And again, it was a really smart strategy, so I'm not taking anything away from OKC. It was a smart game plan for Mark Daigneault, but, check me if I'm wrong here. So Wembanyama, who's won no MVPs, Wembanyama, who wasn't the MVP this year, in fact, he didn't even finish second, is held to a standard. Well, we have to be able to do this in order to stop Wembanyama. But then the two-time MVP is SGA, and SGA gets away with a lot of, and this is what infuriates people, where he doesn't get touched a lot of times. So flop, he'll end up at the free throw line. So you can't touch SGA, but you can be very physical and yank on the arm of Victor Wembanyama. When Wembanyama doesn't have an MVP, SGA's got 2. So really, we should be talking about what do you have to do to stop SGA, and why can't we grab him like we grabbed Wembanyama?
Counterpoint to that, and you're not wrong overall with that opinion, and we can have like a larger SGA discussion. SGA got, I said, like, Stephon Castle's putting him in like the Fujiwara armbar every time down the court. So like SGA is getting fouled almost every time he has the ball. He also flops. That's true also, but he does get fouled.
So both of those are true, and he gets fouled, like you were saying, like with the arm bars, he's going up the court. it's on the shots with SGA, where SGA will take a shot and there won't be anybody within striking distance of him, and then he ends up on the ground and they blow the whistle, and he even had many occasions on that last night. So I just think it's a little bit of a different way that SGA is kind of manhandled. With Wembanyama, I mean, it's Wembanyama on defense too. Like, SGA is not being held on defense, and I think that's a big difference. Like, you see Hartenstein will hold the arm of Wembanyama, so Wembanyama can't even make a play defensively to get back and protect the rim. In fact, the first challenge last night that San Antonio had to use wasn't offensively, it was defensively, where Wembanyama was trying to go block a shot, and he was being held by Hartenstein, and he couldn't get to the shot. They originally called the foul on Wembanyama, then they went back and looked, and they changed it to Hartenstein.
When I say this sentence out loud, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 2-time NBA most valuable player, and then you consider some of the guys that have only won one, most notably the late, great Kobe Bryant. How does that make Justin Termini feel?
Well, how about guys that won none that are better? How about Jerry West, who doesn't have an MVP? Elgin Baylor, who doesn't have an MVP? Rick Barry, who doesn't have an MVP? I think all of those guys, and I could probably rattle off a couple of more, are better than SGA. Like Jason Kidd. Is SGA that much better than Jason Kidd? I don't know. Jason Kidd doesn't have an MVP. And he doesn't have an MVP in my book. I'm a voter. I'm an official voter. I didn't vote for him once, and I don't care what other people think. I only care what I think. So in my estimation, he has 0 MVPs. Jokic has 5 MVPs. I voted for Jokic 5 times over the last 6 years. The only time I didn't was the year that Joel Embiid won the award in 2023. So you can say he has 2 MVPs. The history books will say he has 2 MVPs. But when Termini is brought on as a guest and he's sad and 85 years old with your son or daughter here on Better You Bet.
I'm going to be dead? I'm not going to still be doing it? I'm dead?
You still might not be hosting. As I said, I'm going to be brought in as a guest. I'm probably just going to be retired, and we'll go, let's go back to this old curmudgeonly guy's got some time to kill. He'll come on and he won't, be bothered.
You might be the next Bob Ryan. I think that's where you might be. I mean that as a compliment, sincerely.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I talked to Bob yesterday, actually. He couldn't watch the game because it was on Amazon Prime the other day. So hopefully I'll be able to watch the game.
This can't be. No, I need to know more about this.
Oh, so it was hysterical. He's like, I asked him a question. Wembanyama's changing the sport. Who is the guy that changed the sport the most in NBA history? I'm expecting him to say it was like Steph Curry with the threes, or Elgin Baylor bringing the game above the rim, or Bob Cousy going behind the back with the pass, or Russell blocking shots. This guy takes me back to 1930 and is talking about the first guy to give you a layup off one hand. And then yet I asked him a question about a game from 2 days ago, and he said, I couldn't watch it. It was on Amazon Prime. So he can talk to you about 1930. He can't talk to you about May 15th, 2026.
So does Bob Ryan, he doesn't have, he doesn't know how to do streaming?
Apparently he does not have Amazon Prime.
Because if it's Peacock, he can watch on NBC, but Amazon's...
Exactly.
Amazon said, wow.
No Amazon for Bob Ryan.
Listen, Bob Ryan's he's filthy rich, right? Maybe not filthy. He's rich, though, right?
So. I would assume he's got a good deal of money.
He can't hire someone to I don't know, set it up on his TV for him.
Maybe it's just, his, standards. He's like, I'm not going over to the streaming. There's certain things I wouldn't do. I didn't understand when I had a VCR. I'm like, why the hell do I need a DVR? And I didn't have an era where I had a DVR. I went from VCR to Netflix. I skipped the DVR. What do I need a DVR for? I got a VCR, so it was out of just my standard. I'm not doing that. Maybe that's
the best part about it. The best part about it is you feel so strongly about it that you don't even call it DVD. We're calling it DVR, which is my favorite part.
Oh, I thought it was the same thing. Apologies.
Let's go to another 3-letter, an acronym, SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the blank best player in the NBA right now.
Third, if Giannis is going to give me a completely healthy season, then maybe we could knock him down to 4. If Luka is going to give me a fully healthy season, maybe we could knock him down to 5. But I will give him the distinction as the best guard in the NBA. He is not Wembanyama. He is not Jokic.
How does the rest of the series play? And I know a lot of this is injury dependent based on like J-Dub and his hamstring and Dylan Harper and his hamstring and De'Aaron Fox and his ankle. How does the rest of the series in the Western Conference Final, JT, play out?
Well, I mean, listen, I think that I'm not going to say it was a blessing in disguise, but Oklahoma City is well versed in playing without Jalen Williams, and I thought him coming back maybe could even throw a monkey wrench in a thing. He's a high usage player. They only played 33 regular season games with him. They only played 2 postseason games with him. Then he comes back. It could make it a little clunky, I think. So that is not that big of a loss for them. But if you're not going to have Dylan Harper, who I thought was the second best player for San Antonio behind Wembanyama, and you also might not have De'Aaron Fox, I don't see how they could win the series. So I picked OKC at the beginning of the series, even though it's a horrific matchup for them. And these injuries make it all more likely that Oklahoma City is going to win. If you were to tell me Dylan Harper is healthy, Fox is healthy, Jalen Williams is out, then I would say, all right, San Antonio. But I can't see it if Dylan Harper is not going to play, and I would assume he is not with a hamstring. And De'Aaron Fox, I mean, how serious is it? Sometimes you see this where the team's like, oh, yeah, Giannis's calf, he'll be back like probably next game. And they keep calling him a game time decision. We saw it in 2009 with Kevin Garnett when he hurt himself in February with the knee, and they were the favorites to win the title. And then they're in the first round. They're like, oh, well, yeah, he'll probably be back tomorrow. And he just never came back. So maybe De'Aaron Fox's injury is a lot more severe than we know.
You better you bet on this Thursday. Nick Kostos and you, Westwood One Sports. Our guest, the very handsome, the hair looks good, Justin Termini, Sirius XM NBA Radio, youtube.com/Termini crashing. Well, Termini Radio, the name of the show, Termini crashing out. Okay. More of a Knicks win or a Cavs loss in game 1?
A Cavs loss, because all they had to do is defend Jalen Brunson with somebody else, and they would have been fine. So, I mean, it was a great comeback, but Kenny Atkinson. The story is not even Brunson going off. The story is Kenny Atkinson sits there and watches the game just like you and I, and then James Harden. Like oftentimes you hear, well, this guy's a traffic cone on defense. James Harden wasn't a traffic cone on defense because you can like move a traffic cone from place to place. He was like a knocked over traffic cone. Like you drive on the road, you see a knocked over traffic cone. That's what James Harden was. And Cleveland did nothing about it. And then the other thing I thought was, and they didn't mention this on the broadcast, but Donovan Mitchell was spectacular the first 3.5 quarters. And I know you were at the game in person. I don't know if you could tell in person. I'm watching on TV.
We were asking.
That he looks hobbled.
We were talking about it because, like, and I said this yesterday on the show, right? Because, look, like, we're Knicks fans, people at the game, but, like, we would get to a timeout or a break in the action as they're coming back, and we would all look at each other and say, why isn't Mitchell touching the ball? He doesn't look right. Also, why is he not called timeout? Like, everyone knew watching the game, even at the Garden, JT, this was happening.
Yeah, I mean, so Donovan Mitchell clearly to me looked hobbled and banged up. So what does that mean here for game 2? I didn't think Cleveland had a shot to win this series anyway. But if Donovan Mitchell is going to be hobbled the rest of the way, and then the other thing is like Mitchell after the game, we lose by 4, do we lose like this? It's the same thing. I do not think so. There's just there's a human element where it's impossible to to bounce back after you suffer a loss like that.
So you think, I don't want to put words, it's going to be yes or no. The Cleveland Cavaliers are not going to win the series, yes?
No, they're not winning the series. I mean, I said at the outset of the series that like the Knicks were closer to Oklahoma City and San Antonio. Like if you were to rank the rest of the 4 teams, say you think OKC is the best team, the gap between the Knicks and OKC is closer than the gap between the Cavaliers and the Knicks. That's how much better I think the Knicks are than the Cavaliers.
So I give you that then to give you this. Should the Cavs fire Kenny Atkinson? And I know that sounds harsh and like a hot take. What happened at the end of game 1 was so bad that can you bring this guy back?
Well, I mean, I thought he was safe just by getting out of this round, and I thought the roster was as well by getting past Detroit, because it's like, you lose to the Knicks, conference finals, that's acceptable. And I'm not going to say that you should fire him, but certainly there's going to be some questions asked with how ugly game 1 was. And if they can't get back in this series and it's a 5-game series, it's a sweep, then all of a sudden Atkinson may be on the line, and then where he wouldn't have if you just lost the series normally, you lost game 1 normally. And like if it's a 40-point loss, what can Kenny Atkinson be blamed for on that? Listen, we're just not good enough. But when you have a 22-point lead with 7.5 minutes left, that's on the coach to protect it. I always look at the coach when you blow a lead like that. So, yeah, he might be in trouble. And then we could be talking about the roster getting blown up.
Thunder going to win the championship?
I mean, I'm picking them to beat San Antonio, and if I'm picking them to beat San Antonio, I'm picking them to win the championship. Again, health dependent. I mean, if somebody was going to tell me that Alex Caruso was going to be the greatest role player of all time, it's driving me insane. Like, if you don't like two things, if you don't like the Thunder, he's driving you absolutely insane. Because I didn't think after game one he could do it again in game two. He did. And then the guy that should disgust you the most, and I said this last night on my YouTube program, Termini Crashes Out, it shouldn't be even a player. SGA, Caruso, Daignault, Sam Presti. The guy that should be driving you nuts is Daryl Morey, because he hands him Jared McCain, and Jared McCain's playing a massive role, and it's only going to get bigger if Lou Dort can't knock down an outside shot, and Jalen Williams isn't going to play because of an injury, and we don't even know about the health of A.J. Mitchell, who went down in the final minute last night. So Daryl Morey should be driving you nuts.
So you are... you grew up a Celtic. I know you work in the NBA, so it's not the same thing, right? But you grew up a Celtics fan. Knicks Thunder.
I still root for him. I don't care.
Knicks Thunder in the NBA Finals. Who are you rooting for?
Even as a lifelong Celtic fan, it would kill me to see some of those guys that are part, and I know they don't represent the Knick fan, those nut jobs, but I would root there for New York. One, because I always root for the historic teams. Like, even as a Celtic fan, if like the Lakers are playing like the Heat or, the Hornets, like, I'll root for the Laker fan because it means something to generations, right? Like, I'm sure, Kostos, your grandfather rooted for the Knicks. Your father rooted for the Knicks. It bonds people. When it's the Thunder, who have been around for 10 years, that's not bonding you with your great-grandfather. So I like those historic organizations. Plus, the Thunder fan hates me because if you know the saying out there, and some people do, black eye of the NBA, I dubbed them the black eye of the NBA a couple of years ago when they were losing on purpose in order to accrue talent to stick next to SGA and make the rebuild process easier. And all their fans hate me. In fact, Aaron Wiggins called me out at their parade last year for that comment. So the fans don't like me down there. So yeah, I want to see the Knicks win.
NBA Today, weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern on NBA Radio, youtube.com/Termini Radio. Termini Crashes Out. You're the best, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kostos. And Kenny, you use your timeouts tonight, and I'll use my you-know-what.
Will you or no?
Well, I got to find somebody first.
Good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Termini joining us on the show. Bill Zimmerman is back with us now, our executive producer, with the trivia question of the day. Bill, what do we got?
All right, Nick, we've got Aaron Rodgers trivia here. Well, Aaron Rodgers adjacent, because Aaron Rodgers, for his career right now, has thrown an absurd 527 touchdowns with only 123 interceptions. There are 3 other players in the history of the sport that have more than 300 career touchdown passes and less than 200 interceptions. Can you name them?
We will attempt to answer this question on the other side to wrap up the show along with our bets right after this.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports.
With BetMGM's Hat Trick Jackpot, you have the chance to win your share of $10,000 in bonus bets during each playoff game. Just place an anytime goal scorer wager, and if your player scores 3 or more goals during that game, you'll win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets. Download the BetMGM app today. Thanks to our guest today, Steve Phillips. Thanks to, what is that? What was that noise?
My cat.
What the hell? Are you torturing it? What was that?
It wants lunch.
All right. Well, you know
It's
what?
in here
So do
early.
I just ate a bunch of Greek yogurt. I'm hungry myself. Justin Termini, Steve Phillips, Patrick McEnroe, Bill, Tyler, Kenny, Mike, and Dan. I'm off tomorrow. Chris Mack is in. My hot Memorial Day food take is I love a hot dog. I just want hot dogs. I don't eat hot dogs any time of year except from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And all I want to eat are hot dogs when I'm outside. Anyway, I'm laying the Knicks tonight. That's my bet. I like the Knicks. And I would have a small bet on the Canadiens. Not a big bet. A small bet on the Montreal Canadiens, but give me the Knicks. The trivia question. So more than 300 touchdown passes, less than 200 interceptions, other than Aaron Rodgers.
Right. There's 4 all-time. Rodgers is one of them with an absurd, basically 5-to-1 ratio.
It has to be modern guys to get 300 or more touchdowns. Stafford has to be one.
Stafford is one of them. He's got 196 interceptions, so he probably will leave this list this season.
Do we want to guess anybody? Crew? Russell Wilson? That's a pretty good guess. He definitely has more than 300 touchdowns.
Russell Wilson, 353 touchdowns, 114 interceptions. There is one more name on the list.
I don't think Kurt Warner has that many touchdowns. Rivers definitely has more interceptions. Rivers has that many interceptions. Brady had to have thrown 200 interceptions, right? Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan is the third, 381 touchdowns, 183 interceptions. And by the way, Mike Brown guessed in the chat, Kirk Cousins, he's at 298. So if 2 touchdowns, he could join the group this season.
Have a great show tomorrow, and happy Memorial Day to you guys, and happy Memorial Day to the audience. I'll talk to everybody coming up on Monday. Until then, I'm Nick Kostos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets. The episode I'll talk to you on Tuesday. Bye.